and welcome to Enough. Thank you guys for being with us this evening. This is our second episode. We're really excited to be here tonight. I'm Maya, and Angela is my co-host. So here, sorry.
Hi, Maya. Just say hi.
So here at Enough, we just talk about real life things that affect all of us, regular people. I'm a stay-at-home mom. Angela's a working mom. And some of our conversations are going to be light and easy, and some of them are going to be heavy and slightly uncomfortable because that's just life, whether it be politics or lifestyle or social justice or religion. It just is what it is. And we're going to get started.
Thank you. Actually, this week is a little heavier because we're going to be talking to LaToya Benton. Some of you may not know LaToya. She is the mother of Xzavier Hill. And Xzavier Hill was just 18 when he was shot and killed by the Virginia State Police troopers in Goochland County, Virginia. She has been forced into the spotlight, I would say. And like so many Black mothers, who have had to fight for justice after their children have been shot and killed by police officers, that's where LaToya Benton is now. And we were happy to be able to have an opportunity to talk to her and to give her this platform to tell her story and to talk about her son. So in spite of this trauma, she is a leader. She is out on the streets and she is fighting for justice. She is wanting transparency in the case and basically for the world to have some sense of the humanity of who her son was. So I've spent a lot of time thinking about LaToya, just to be honest with you, because LaToya's son is a 2020 graduate of a high school that's a rival high school of my son, who is also a 2020 graduate. And though they didn't know each other, it felt just very personal when the case made the news. And so I really understood, having experienced also in my life where I've had a close friend whose family member was killed by police, I understand how hard it is for parents and family members to get the story out there and to have the truth about who their loved one was. So this was our opportunity to sit down with LaToya. And it struck me that she represents the type of leader who's born out of circumstance and not out of design. You can tell she didn't plan to do this. She didn't plan to be an activist, but this is where she is right now. What were your reflections of that conversation, Maya?
So after our conversation with LaToya, it was just really clear to me that she just had a lot of questions. And I just tried to put myself in her shoes. And I think that any of us, no matter who we are or what we do as our profession, we would have tons of questions if our child or any person who we love is taken by police and you don't have any clear information, like there's not witnesses that said A, B, and C happens. For me, what I took away was just her pain and like bewilderment, almost like, is this real? And like I said, just tons of questions. And I understand why things work the way they do sometimes with the legal system or the justice system. I understand why they don't put things out at a certain time. And I get all that. But at the end of the day, once you've had your grand jury, once you've dismissed charges or decided we aren't bringing charges or whatever, give us all the facts. Because I think families need closure.
Absolutely. Yeah. And community, the community at large needs closure.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah. This was not a clear-cut case of police misconduct.
No, it's not at all. Like, and obviously with the grand jury, that's not how they see it either. So I'm not really sure why this case hasn't made national news, but it just hasn't. But we're in Virginia. My child graduated in 2020 as well, just like yours, just like Xzavier. So this is a very important case to us. But why do you think that this case hasn't made national news?
Yes, because it's not the perfect case in the sense that you don't have a perfect picture or perfect villain. In the case of George Floyd, where there was obvious misconduct by police officers, and because he was 18 years old and he wasn't 12 or 13, or sleeping in his bed or something, that people can say he was obviously innocent. That's why it's not getting, I think that's why it's not getting the attention. And so there are some people probably on the show right now who don't know the case. So let me just tell you a little bit about what actually happened. On January 9th, 2021, Xzavier Hill was driving outside of Richmond in Goochland County on a Virginia State road, and he was clocked at going over 90 miles per hour. And the state trooper who clocked him saw that he was, speeding, put on his sirens, pulled him over, and it appeared that he was complying by pulling over to the side. But as the cruiser stopped and the police got out of their car, he actually tried to make a U-turn. He failed in making that U-turn and ended up in a grassy median in the middle of the road. And he was stuck because he tried to get out of it. And he, being the only person in the car, the driver of the car, he was then approached by the police officers with their guns drawn. And of course, there were a series of commands. This is me having watched the dash cam video, I should say, and reading the reports from the grand jury. They called out a series of commands, which of course could be confusing because it's two officers calling out commands, some of them somewhat contradictory, actually. And at some point he says, you can't see him, but because the police officer's actually in the way of the dash cam video, and so you can't see him in particular. But he then says, I can't open the door. And that's the last thing he says. The next thing you hear the police officer saying he has a gun, and then they shoot him. They ended up shooting him in the face, hand, and neck. And that's what killed him. The next thing you see in the dash cam is them searching for the gun. They say they had the gun, and that's when they pull him out of the vehicle. So, like I said, any move he could have made, when I look at him, I see an 18-year-old, and knowing that almost every 18-year-old, especially a black male, has seen a video of a black male being shot by police officers. So you think about all the things that might have gone through his head, and also what he could have done at that point, that both guns were aimed at his head, that might not have been fatal, and it doesn't seem like anyone would have many choices. So that's one thing that struck me when I watched the video. Did you have any reflections on the case after the grand jury?
Well, first, I didn't watch the dash cam video because I can't watch those anymore. I've watched too many black bodies die, so I just won't watch anymore. But when you were explaining to us what you saw, you mentioned that they looked for the gun, and then after they found the gun, then they pulled his body out. But I didn't hear you say that they administered any CPR or tried to even save his life.
No, I didn't see that.
Possibly, he could have possibly lived. Who knows? So I don't know. When I hear stuff like that, it definitely bothers me. It's clearly not a cut and dry case. The dash cam video that I guess you saw, the officer testimony, all that went in front of the grand jury, and they're not bringing charges. So, there is no closure there, probably. Yeah, it's just so much because it's not just a case. Like they keep adding on. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
But I will say, if police officers in Georgia could safely arrest someone after they shoot 8 people and kill them, and then lament with that individual because they had a bad day and, understand their sexual addiction, you would think that two officers in Virginia would be able to detain this young man, right? I mean, there are some things that are questionable that what the officers did, and that's what's questionable to what Xzavier did because we don't know because we don't see anything, right? There's some stuff there, but nothing to me that says the death penalty. That's where
Yeah,
I'm
I didn't
stuck.
see a crime. I didn't see a crime that was that would warrant the death penalty at all. I agree with you there.
Yeah. So we're about to watch the talk that we had with Xzavier's mom, and we're going to go ahead and show that. And if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat if you're watching online.
This is Angela, and I'm really excited today that Maya and I have an opportunity to talk to one of our neighbors and our community member, Ms. LaToya Benton. She's going to talk to us a little bit about her son, and we are here to sort of celebrate, not celebrate, but because it's not a celebration, but to understand and acknowledge who her son was and the community that loves and supports her and misses him after his untimely shooting death that happened in January. And so first I wanted to ask, LaToya, I want to welcome you. And I want to ask you to tell us a little bit about Xzavier and about how you're doing.
Okay, well, I am maintaining, as I can say. As far as about Xzavier, I don't know, like personally, like where to start. Sometimes when it starts with Xzavier, as most people know, Xzavier was when people say he was just my son, he was the only child that I actually had. So I don't have any other kids other than him. That was it. So from day one, that was my heart and soul and whatnot. Xzavier was a carefree spirit and whatnot child. He loved everybody. Zay loved sports. Any sport Zay wanted to play, he would be involved in whatnot. We went at it. He loved to be outside. Zay loved to go fishing. He loved the beach. He loved my mom. He just loves everybody. The first time Zay learned how to swim, he taught himself how to swim too as well and whatnot. So I mean, just my kid overall as a person. I could speak about Zay for like hours.
Yes, so he had a lot of people who really loved him and jumped at an opportunity to talk about him. I noticed that. So you have an extended family. Though you only have one son, it seems like you have an extended family of support. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am married. I have my husband as well. I have my twin sister. You guys gonna always see her in the scene with me. That's Auntie Tanya. I have my brother who lives in Minnesota. That's my brother, D. Then I also have my cousins who are always around. I have a lot of cousins, y'all. I have a lot of cousins. But I mean, it's a lot of them. But as far as like my immediate ones, I have people who are like around me right here that like my sister, my husband, my brother, who they're like my posse. We all go together and whatnot. But they're all like considered voice behind Xzavier as well.
As far as the community, can you tell us, have you received support from the community and from his friends?
I have. How can I put this? I wish we would receive more support. I feel like that's a tough question.
Okay.
Because it's almost like you should have an active support. And it's almost like as a mom, people don't really go through it and whatnot. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all already know, like, Zay wasn't perfect. I didn't say my kid was perfect. Nobody's perfect. But I feel like we've been like begging people for support. That's the thing. It's like you don't know how else do you ask for help? Mm-hmm. That's the thing. There's so many kids that pass away outside of Xzavier. People don't know about. That's what made their kids outside of Breonna Taylor, the people outside of George Floyd, that people do not know about. And I'm like, oh my God, is my child gonna be one of the ones who people are like just trying to say, hey, it was another shooting and it can't happen like that. That's the thing. It's not fair to moms. It's not fair to them to hear it. It's not right.
Yeah.
And people go about the rest of their lives, hey, where's one? Like, y'all wake up the next day and it's like it's a normal day for y'all. It's not for me. I don't get that anymore. That's gone.
Right.
So
I can understand that.
I was going to ask if maybe people just don't know at times like this, sometimes people don't know what to say or what to do. It's almost like, I guess, when we go into adulthood, we should have a class on like how to be supportive in traumatic times. Because sometimes you just are frozen with, I don't know, right? Frozen with you just don't know what to do, except, I've learned to just ask, how can I help you?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's one of the reasons we wanted to have you here, LaToya, because we wanted to know, how can we help you? Like I said, my son graduated same time as Xzavier, and while he didn't know him, I could tell that it hit very hard, because as a Black mother, I think that could be me. I could easily be in your situation. And I think he probably felt that way too. So we would like to talk, maybe at some point later on after we've watched the video, talk about what we can do to show support for those people who didn't know how. Like Maya said, sometimes we just don't know. We'd like you to tell us what we can do, because and especially in these times, COVID times, goodness gracious, people can't even mourn like they want to, right? They can't hug people, and touch people in the way that we normally do. So we send our virtual hugs to you right now, because I understand this is tough, and we appreciate you sharing Xzavier with us in this way today.
Thank you.
My name is Tyrell Brunson. I go by TK Farouz as well. This is my video on my cousin Xzavier D. Hill. Xzavier was murdered on January 9th, 2021 of this year. And I just want to say Xzavier was a good kid. I always helped his mom. He was an athlete. Remember him just playing sports at a very young age. Football. I took him, I used to come and visit some of his football games when I lived in Virginia in the time of my adolescence. And just figuring out who I was going to be in the world. I was only 18 years old myself when I used to take him to games, so that's why it hit me, kind of hard about the situation, and wish there was more I could do for his mother. So she asked that this short clip be recorded just in memory of Xzavier, to speak a lot of good about who he was, his character, and his nature as a man. Though a young man, but a man in this world. He was bound to do great things, so he's doing great things up in the heavens, I believe, for our Lord and Savior. So I thank you, Xzavier, for being the inspiration in my life. From the time I know you as a youngin' to your untimely demise, we love you. TK out. Peace, bro.
The question was, what does Zay mean to me? And the first thing that comes to mind is that he was family. I'm an only child, and I've never really experienced what siblinghood or having a brother would be like. But when I was around Zay, I feel like I got a semblance of that kind of familial bond, He was a jokester, he was a great companion, a great friend. Most times, he was just someone that could make you happy no matter what mood you were in before you were in his presence. He was just that captivating and kind and a great conversationalist, and I feel like, I don't know, I feel like my bond with Zay is something that I can't really put into words. I feel like we were just yin and yang, you know, like I feel it's hard to explain. But Zay meant a lot to me, and I really miss him. And I'm really grateful that I got to have those moments, those special moments with him. And yeah.
So Zay was my baby cousin, and I really felt, honored to be included in his life, and to be, maybe an example or a role model for him along his journey, because he was special. He was a leader, right? That was something that was so clear, and people really loved him. So as a leader, I felt really secure in the idea that if I was connected with him, if I really looked out for Zay, and I knew that he was all right, he would do the same, and that would kind of extend to that generation of our family. And I think that's, again, maybe what was most special about him is he was such a great leader and uniter of people.
My name's Tiana, and I'm Xzavier's quote-unquote sister. He was a really good friend, more like a brother, because I never called him a friend. He always called me his little sister. He always had my back. Our parents are really good friends, so like they always made me comfortable. Especially I met him when I had moved here, and he made me feel comfortable about entering high school and stuff. He told me it would be okay, and if I needed him, he'd be here and all that. I'd always talk to him. He'd always come over the house during the summer and hang out with me. We'd just talk, go to the pool, hang out. He was very caring, and he always looked out for other people, and I love that about him. And I can for surely say that I miss him very much.
My name is Katie O'Mara. I knew Xzavier when he was a high school student. There are 3 things that you would learn about Xzavier pretty early on when you meet him. The first is how much he loves his mama. Xzavier told everyone about how he loved his mom. There was no secret there. He was a proud teenage boy, happy to share how much his mom meant to him, which is really rare. The second thing you would learn about him pretty soon on after meeting him is how much he loves his dog. I probably can't even count for you how many pictures of that dog he proudly displayed to me throughout the time that I got to spend with him. And the third thing you'll learn about him is his passion for sneakers. Not just wanting to wear them, but designing them. He had this amazing ability to be creative and combine that creativity with a passion, which is what we all strive for, right? So those are kind of the first things you'll notice about him. But as you get to know him, some other things will become much more apparent. And it takes a little while for you to start to notice these really unique traits about him. One of those is that he has the gift of words. He could talk his way out of any situation, and I'm sure his mother would agree with that, which, by the way, Xzavier was very lucky to have a parent who not only loved him fiercely, but always held him accountable, right? She was the best of both worlds, and I got to see that firsthand, and I know that Xzavier appreciated that as well. But yeah, he could talk his way out of any situation. He could charm his way into getting a second chance. He was someone who used and believed in the power of words. Also something very unique for a teenage boy. The last thing I wanted to mention is just how proud he was of his relationships. He was not afraid to befriend someone, whether it was another student around him, whether it was an adult around him. Once he loved you, he made it publicly known that he loved you, right? There were no secrets. if you were loved by Xzavier. So my heart has been very heavy with all of that's been going on, but I know that he would be very proud of those who spoke up for him, because he would have spoken up for them as well.
What can I say when it comes down to Zay? I literally put myself in my place in my house that would remind me the most of him, and that's shoes. That was our thing. I remember anytime I came home to visit, that was the first thing Zay did. He went to go see what shoes I had and would try them on from the time he could fit them. From the time he couldn't fit them until the time he could fit them. Like, that was just something that we shared. Like I said, Zay was like my brother. I don't have any brothers. So to have a nephew and to be able to talk to him about, like, more or less boy stuff, man stuff, just be able to teach him different things and got him that way, like, it was an honor to do so. My sister made sure that the bond was tight between me and her son, and I'm so thankful for that. I'm a better father because I was uncle to my nephew first. There was this one time when me, Zay, and another one of my nephews had we were at a gas station, and Zay was complaining about buying his mom a donut, and I just let him know the importance there because, like, my other nephew, he doesn't have the opportunity to do those things for his mom because she passed away. Zay went in the store and bought his mom 2 donuts. The next time I came back home, Zay bought my food. Zay was just a sponge. Like, any advice that you ever gave him, he would take it in for exactly what it was worth and apply it to himself. I love my nephew. This is a lot harder for me than I thought it would be.
Hello, I'm Brandon. I was Zay's second cousin. And for me, Zay really represented the future. I've not had as much opportunity to interact with as many of the younger members of our family. And Zay's been at the center of a lot of my interaction over the last few years. And so I've had the chance to get to know him and to really see a lot of what we're looking forward to in our future with him. So for me, he really represented the next step of where America's going, where our family is going, where just what exists for us moving forward. And that was always what I had in my head when I think about future generations and we talk about where we're going. Zay was almost the figment or the representative of the entire class of people. And so really, that's what Zay really represented for me, is a close tie of family, and he was the future.
Xzavier was my boyfriend. He was an overall amazing person. He was always happy no matter what. Even if he was going through something, he made sure he kept a smile on his face for everybody around him. He made sure everybody was okay before himself. And he literally meant everything to me, and it hurts to know that I won't see him again.
My name is LaToya Snow. My nephew is Xzavier Hill. He was murdered by the Virginia State Police January the 9th, 2021. We were asking for awareness he brought to his case. Xzavier was only 18. Xzavier was just starting his life. Xzavier was a really great kid. We're asking that justice is brought to Xzavier's case because Xzavier's life matters and Xzavier deserves it.
Okay, so we're back. So LaToya, can you tell us any reactions you have from the video of your son's friends and family?
I just know my son was truly loved. It is very surprising to be like when you have, I know you guys have kids, but I know you guys only have like one child. When you have a single child, you're like super nervous about them making friends and stuff. And each time we would move, we'll be like, oh my God, is it gonna make friends? And then Zay had no problem making friends, and people like really love my son. And to know that he like touched so many people, it's like, hey, as a mom, I know I was doing my job. That's the thing. I know, as a parent, you're sometimes like, kids make some crazy decisions, but as a mom, to like hear these people say all these things about my son, I know I was doing something right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I loved what his teacher had to say about him, and I loved the fact that he wasn't ashamed to love out loud. I thought that was it's just beautiful. Usually you don't get that from young boys so young. But I think that was great. Just I wish my kids could be a little bit more expressive and, let people know that they love them just because that's your friend or that's the person you sit next to in class. So I thought that was great.
Yeah, Xzavier always like, I think one thing I thought about my son was like, it was always like the awkward kid or like the kid who no one wanted to hang around. That's what Xzavier wants to be around. And I was like, okay, well, you can hang around the person. I never told him, just don't. And he always would love like this. He was so carefree. He just loved everybody. He loved everybody.
Yeah, that's what everyone seemed to want to say about him. And then too, just the love he had for you. I mean, it was just so obvious. And like the teacher said, it's rare that a son will go out and express his love for his mom in high school. Like I have 2 sons. I don't think they're doing that.
Mine aren't either.
But that really, it just struck me as really special. And I'm sure you do have a lot to be proud of in terms of the energy that he put out into this world and how many people, felt it and how many people were, whose lives were made better because of knowing him. And that's why I said I feel honored to talk to you because just watching the video, I felt like I got to know him.
Yeah. And I really wish they had more time on the world to blossom. That was like the bad part. It's kind of, he didn't get his chance to like, as a parent, you kind of watch all those years and you're like, okay, here we go. Like, all right, what you about to do? Like, there you go. We'll put it into you or not. So, it kind of like sucks as a mom. It's like, dang, like, I know you have the ability to do something great. And I feel like they robbed me of that. And that's the thing, so it's like, so I know that it was entitled to make mistakes or whatnot, but you shouldn't be robbed of your chance of life. He was robbed of his chance of life, period. They robbed us. That's what they did.
Yes. So yeah, I feel that too. Is there anything else beyond the video that you would like to tell us about Xzavier and about Xzavier?
I mean, other than like I said, you guys see from the video who my son was. I'm not gonna let an article or put it in the paper or whatnot, try to paint a picture of my child. I'm not, at the end of the day, if Xzavier when it first came out, they were like, oh my God, what if he was speeding? Okay, what if he was speeding? Okay, that's still a ticket. Like, oh my God, was he had a gun in the car? I'm like, okay, but if he did in the state of Virginia, you can. So I refuse to let anybody paint a picture of my son who I know that he was not. That's the thing. You guys got boys. So y'all know how boys can be. No one's gonna paint a picture of my son and say, hey, he was the person right here. That's not who Zay was. He wasn't. Even in the actual video itself, he sounds so terrified to me. And it's like, I'm like, I wish I was like there. It's like, just like, if he could have called me or just something to protect and whatnot. So I want people to know that Xzavier was a very, very, very good kid. He made mistakes, but he didn't deserve to die behind his mistakes. He didn't.
Yes.
So moving forward, I know you have the hashtag Justice for Xzavier, and so people can find that, and I'm sure we're going to put that graphic up so people can easily find that. What does that look like? Justice for Xzavier.
Moving forward, hopefully, this God willing, because we're done with the hopes. It's more so we're demanding this now. We're at the AG's office now with the LCPM, demanding a separate investigation of Xzavier's case. As far as how they did the investigation or whatnot, it wasn't thorough and it was not transparency with the case. I want Xzavier to have a fair trial. They say you're due to due process in America. So that's the case. Then you can't go to trial and only represent the police officers and no one's there on Xavier's behalf. That's not a fair trial. So I want a fair trial for my son. I want the officer to be brought to justice. So that's what I want. I want laws to be changed behind this. I've been calling the Congress Attorney's office for days, for weeks now. They're not answering the phone.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how are you an elected official? You're an elected official and you're allowed to do that. That's not right. We have to correct stuff like that. It can be corrected. It has to be addressed. Every problem we're running into, we're writing all the problems down. Tell people to understand like what we're experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
So just for Xzavier, it's more than just the police officers being held accountable for what they're doing. It's all the little shady things they're doing in between time too that we're taking note of.
Are there any things coming up in the future that people can help with and that they'd be able to find, going through the hashtag?
Absolutely. Tomorrow we have a phone zap. It's a phone and email zap. And then next Saturday, there's a protest over in Norfolk, Virginia by MLK Park.
Is there a central location, or what's the best way for us to find out what you're doing for hashtag justice for Xzavier? Should we use the hashtag too?
All the pages that are, I think the Instagram page is Justice for Xzavier Hill. The Facebook page, same thing. I actually run those pages as well. So I try to make sure I put everything up there every single day as far as protests are concerned. Phone zap, email zaps, just certain things I make sure I put them on all those pages. I have it on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
I hope that what we can give to you is some more visibility for this fight that we're engaged in. And you're right, it's not just for you, it's not just for Xzavier, but it's for, our Black mothers, Black sons, Black people who are subject to a different set of standards and laws and, treatment.
I'm only one person. My sister's only one person. My husband's one person. My brother's one person. We're not, we're a smaller army. We got people that's behind supporting us or not, but we still need more people to help support us. There's power in numbers. People who know other people, like other things people can help me out with. I'm willing to take help as far as advice that people actually know what's going on. There's a difference between somebody saying their opinion and actually tell me what to do next. That's a big thing, and the community support behind us, that's super major. That's super major. The people that want to support me, that's fine too, whatnot. But I also know too, you guys saw the video, y'all saw what happened to my son. So that's my main thing. We will need the community support when it comes to protests, when it comes to phone zaps, comes to email zaps. I want to flood the phone lines. I want to flood his email up,
Right.
They're like, well, they can call up here. I want to keep Xavier's name amplified.
Well, I think one thing we have to mention before we close out is, if the officers were wearing body cams, a lot of these questions wouldn't exist because we'd be able to see what was going on. And so some of, when we talk about the lack of transparency, the body cams would answer a lot of questions. And so if we could at least get that changed, that helps everyone in the state of Virginia. So
yes, and I think it's instant accountability too. If you know that you're wearing a body cam, then you have a different set of actions. That's in my opinion. Absolutely.
Even when it comes to stuff like with Xavier's case, body cam or not, you guys know, I've said it before on my Facebook page. The video they released out is not the video they sold to my family. I'm almost 100% sure of that. It's not fair when these kind of things happen. We have to file reports to get everything released. Doesn't make any sense to me. I lost my whole child. So once something like that is done, it should be, hey, this happened. I should be able to see everything. I'm his next of kin. So even with body cams as well, we should be able to see everything. Paperwork, citations, reports, everything should be transparent. It shouldn't be, well, I'm not filing a report about the death of my child. That's my child.
So we are asking for more transparency, that's for sure. So that it won't just be you and, your small army, like you said, that, the world should know what actually happened that day, and be able to hold them accountable for the behavior for what is unjust. So I agree with you there. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your time, and we wish you all the best, and we will be behind you and in support of you.
Thank you for being here. Welcome back.
Yes.
That was a little heavy.
I agree.
Right? It's just a little, it still makes me uncomfortable thinking about it, watching it. Somebody even put in the chat, and the exact same thought I had was, I lost my whole child. Like, that's just a whole sermon, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
That just everything. So let's just address some of the comments that we had in the chat from the people who are watching online with us. One of them is, what do we tell our sons? What do you tell your boys?
So my 18-year-old actually did the video for Xzavier. So the video that you saw was a video he put together. It's extremely emotional for him and for me. So, and my 15-year-old, it's very hard to talk to him about that because it's hard to ruin their innocence, to be honest with you. But it's a conversation I have to have. And so what I try to do is stay open, because I know because I know he's seen the hashtag, and I know he's seen videos of Black men getting shot and killed. And so I talk to him and I give him the conversation. I talk to him and say the things that I know you've probably said to your son, and every Black mother and Black father has said to their child, in terms of how you try to survive the encounter with police officers. Mm-hmm. But I know that reaffirms the fear of them. And sometimes my worry is that they'll act irrational in the face of danger. So I don't have a great answer beyond that. And that's why I'm here, to be honest with you, because I don't want my kids to see me not do anything about it.
Yeah, I don't think there's any right answer. I think every family probably addresses this differently, takes their child's innocence, as you say, differently. I've been really open and honest with my kids. So when you start school, you can't watch TV during the week unless it's the news. So maybe looking at it that way, my kids' innocence maybe starts a little bit earlier than other people's, because watching the news tells you a lot of stuff. But I think one of the things we just need to remember to tell our sons is that we love them. Like, just, you can't say it enough. You just grab them sometimes and make them hug you, right? I've got 2 boys, you've got 2 boys. My boys are bigger than me, but just
mine too.
Right? My son played defense on the football team at Brookpoint for 4 years. You gonna give me a hug, boy?
Right.
Come here, come on mama's lap. It's my baby. But yeah, I tell him I love him. He lives away from home now in his own place with grown men who are in their 20s. I hate it. Mm-hmm. I'm nervous all the time. I think I've mentioned on the show before, he's had the police called on him for being at the bus stop for too long. He could have been annoyed and pissed off, and maybe he could have been irrational when the officer was talking to him. Luckily, the officer, my son told me, was embarrassed that he was talking to, he was like, oh, they shouldn't have called me on you. You know what I mean? So it went in our favor, thank God. But you just, I don't know, it's just like the extra burden of being Black in America. Just have to deal with it.
You know what I do? This is not for my son, but it's because I hope other people will do this for their sons. So before COVID, when I used to take the metro, if I saw a Black male sitting in a young Black male sitting somewhere, I sat next to him. And I know sometimes he's probably like, why would you choose me? Yeah. Like, there's other seats, ladies. Why are you? But I was like, I want you to know that, because I know nobody else is sitting next to you, So I just want you to know that I don't perceive you the way the world perceives you. You know, I think that that's, that's what we have to do. Like, we have to go out of our way, I think, because there's so much up against, especially Black males, that we have to like hug them and love them in a special way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And I also feel like, I've got a house full of kids, and so only 2 of them are boys, the rest are girls, right? And they Black too. So they're, we internalize things as well, just as being part of the same community, right? Just being Black people. So we got to tell our girls we love them. We got to protect our girls just as fiercely as we protect our boys. Black women are dying at an alarming rate in this country anyway, whether it be domestic violence or police. So, things happen. Breonna Taylor still hasn't had justice.
That's absolutely.
The wall, got justice, but she did it, right? The bullets that went in the wall, there's consequences for that, but not for taking her life. So yeah, there's a lot, right? But I think we just have to love on each other and show up when we're uncomfortable, show up when we're tired, just show up. We have to, I guess, rally around each other when we need each other.
Great point. And that's what I hope we do for LaToya Benton too.
Yeah, so I know that they're working on some type of awareness rally in Woodbridge or Stafford, and that's going to be soon, but we don't have the details just yet. But as soon as we do, we will definitely get that on social media. And if we happen to have another episode, which will be in 2 weeks, before that happens, then we have the information, we'll definitely tell everybody, because we definitely plan to be there, right? I'm going to be there. I'm assuming you're going to be there. Yeah,
I will do my best. Also, yes, follow the hashtag Justice for Xzavier. That will help get you up on whatever their latest, the latest news is, or whatever they're doing.
Okay. Well, we're coming to the end of our time here. And like I said, we'll have light conversations and easy conversations. And tonight was a heavy one. And
it was.
But these are like conversations that, people are having, right? When things like this happen, to talk about it. And it's hard to process, but we, as a people, we thrive no matter what. And we'll continue to do so. So do you want to close us out and say anything, Angela?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows. I don't have to look at this. And that's why I got my reading glasses today. Because I want to tell you that if you have a topic that you would like us to shed more light on, or you have some thoughts, that we are taking suggestions. And so you can email us at shoutenough99@gmail.com. And you can follow us on Facebook. That's Enough 99 at That's Enough 99. So again, shoutenough99@gmail.com. And we will be back in 2 weeks. and that's for more personal conversations where we are listening, we are speaking, and hopefully that leads to action. It's been a pleasure.